Hey, you boo-boo. Hey, boo-boo. Let me stick it in you.
Hey, everybody! Welcome back to the Power Trip Gaming Powercast.
Welcome back.
Yogi back.
Okay, stop. Oh my god.
Steal your pick a nigga biscuit.
Yeah, steal a little more than that, boo-boo.
So what's going on, guys? Yes, another Powercast.
Another Powercast.
Yes, what's going on with you boys? What's going on with you boys?
God, I wish I could say that there was something new going on, but there's nothing really new going on.
You know what they say, no news is good news. You know? No new is good news. Sometimes living a life of subsistence is all right.
Oh, okay. I was gonna before you said that. This is very good, very good. But when you said no new is good news, it was probably funnier in your head than it was coming out. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course it was. That's like 85 to 90% of our
everything's
repertoire.
funnier in his head before.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm my biggest fan.
And then we hear it and we're just like, what is wrong
like-
with you?
Guys, by the way, sign up for my OnlyFans. Just kidding.
Everybody's got an OnlyFans.
Everybody's got an OnlyFans.
I got an OnlyFan. It's only me subscribed. So I mean,
Yeah, but you're the literal translation of you're your only fan.
Actually, I just bought myself a whole bunch of the box fans at Walgreens.
Yeah.
They're on sale for $10.
so it's not your
So
OnlyFan.
yeah, I'm going to start my OnlyFans.
This is now
You're so
this has
stupid.
now become the dad joke.
It's literally
podcast.
a stream. Literally just a stream
Oh
of
my
fans.
God. This is the worst thing we've ever done. Why
Is
did
it?
I shouldn't have done this.
Hey, you remember?
Oh, man.
Hey, you remember that GameStop woman? She started a page. It's only ma'ams.
Yeah! I need your corporate number! Oh, that's hilarious. Holy mams. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's comedy money right there, and we're gonna end on that. So nothing's new with you. Kevin, anything new with you, buddy? Anything that's yeah.
The fuck was that?
I was gonna drink it, but then I realized you have no other
If you
drink.
want to drink it, drink it.
Oh, well, then thank you. I definitely will. What's new with you, buddy?
Yeah, not a whole lot.
No?
Nah,
No? Just playing? Hanging and banging?
sitting in a dark room doing nothing.
Oh, the dream.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
That's
yeah,
pretty.
whatever.
That's pretty much what I would have expected.
Status quo.
Tormenting my dog.
Mhm.
He torments me back, so it's even. It's
Ah,
okay.
There you
Is
go.
that what you call the penis? Oh, yes. My dog? Tormenting the dog and he torments you back? Alright, anyway. I'm, let's see. I just recently bought Returnal for the PS5.
It's called Returnal.
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 So the game, for a brief...
It's like a
thing for
return to Eternal.
Woman crash lands, alien planet. They're searching for this white signal there or something. I can't remember what the name of it is. The white signal? Fuck it, whatever. But she crash lands on this planet, and the first thing you come across is another explorer, and there's like a thing, and she looks, she's like, well, I'm going to commence with identification of the thing, and it's her.
Oh.
Her name's on the helmet. The whole theme of the game is that
Groundhog's Day.
basically every time you die,
Oh.
it goes right back to the scene of you crash landing on the planet. And it over and over. So throughout this entire game, you just find all of your corpses throughout this thing with different audio logs of things that she's experienced. There's at one point, like, and actually I think you'd appreciate this. There's at one point you find this just like she finds her house in the middle of this alien planet, which is impossible. She even says this is impossible. This house isn't even real. But you go in it and it switches to like a first person thing. It feels just like PT.
Oh, really?
It's so creepy.
Oh, wow.
It honestly, those segments make my heart skip a little bit because it's like you'll come up to like a telescope that's pointing towards thing, and you'll look through the thing and you see nothing, but then you turn around and there's like an old school like astronaut just standing there, and then the lights will turn off and he'll get closer and it's some scary shit, and then you wake up outside the house. But then the house is like different.
So is this like a horror game?
It's a blending of horror and like roguelite.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like every time you die and restart, the planet changes. So like the maps are different, the enemies setups are different. Like you find different things. It's like one of those procedurally generated world.
Interesting.
It's very fucking cool, and I am really enjoying it. Game's super good. It plays like Control. If anybody's ever played Control, it plays like that, but it feels like Metroid to me. It feels and plays like Metroid and Control put together.
Like Metroid or Metroid Prime.
Well, it's third person.
Okay, so it's more
Metroid.
like Metroid.
Other M.
Other M.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Kind of, but plays better. Super good game. I really, really enjoy it. I know Kevin was on the fence because he doesn't really care for roguelites. Because he doesn't like the constant shift of equipment and just that whole idea. But actually, the way they handled it, I think he would enjoy it. Because there's still enough permanence, even between deaths, to where it doesn't feel like a burden.
Well, that's my biggest complaint with roguelites has always been is it never feels like you're making progress, and then when you do make progress, you lose it as soon as you die. I hate that feeling.
And it's a genre that's gone way, way back. Actually, Azure Dreams for the PS1 was like, and I think Azure Dreams was on Game Boy Color as well.
Yes, it was.
But that game was technically a roguelite, I guess.
Well,
because every time you entered the tower, it was completely different. You started at level 1.
They go back to, I think, what was it?
It probably goes back farther.
PC?
I think Genesis even had something like that.
The original, it's the reason it's called Roguelite is because the first game, Rogue, that they're all based on, was like this.
Yeah.
So...
Because I think I remember games like that on Genesis. It was a game called... Oh boy, what was it called?
Flashback?
No.
The Quest for Identity?
Wasn't that like a Prince of Persia?
I don't know.
Kind of, but like more of a sci-fi.
I think it was more,
I think they remade Flashback not long ago.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't remember what the name of the game is, but there was one on Genesis where it's like the procedurally generated tower and you go through. It's a genre that goes way, way back, but just recently has kind of had like a prominence.
The first like major one was Rogue Exploring the Dungeons of Doom on the Amiga, the Amstrad CPC, Atari 8-bit, Commodore 64.
Oh, so it was a computer, basically. Home computer. Yeah. Huh.
So
it's based off like D&D and stuff like that.
So. But like I said, it's a genre that's kind of flown into prominence over the past few years, maybe past console generation. It's really kicked up.
Yeah.
As most genres do. When
Metroidvania.
That had a huge prominence in a while. And so, yeah.
I would love to play it, but I'm hoping that by this summer, PlayStation's going to get caught up with with the demand, and there's going to be more PS5s available.
Yeah, I'm hoping you do too.
Hopefully,
it's fun.
Yeah,
hard. So. It's hard. It's weirdly almost plays like a bullet hell, kind of.
Oh, really?
It's very odd. Maybe we'll play it someday. Maybe we'll play it a little bit on the channel. I'll bring my system over and we'll try it. Okay. I think it'd be fun to do for a little bit. But yeah, I think you would enjoy it too. But that's kind of partially why we're here today, is what I just did.
What you talked about? Roguelite?
Just reviews in general, because I essentially just gave a mini review on that game. Oh. Would you say I'm qualified too?
You're not qualified to do a lot of things.
That's fair. So I every so often I scour the pan drippings of Twitter, just because. Why not? People, man. The more I know people, the less I like them.
Well,
it took you getting to know them to not like them?
Well, I am going to say this, though.
That's a good point.
I am going to say this, though. If you are looking for, like, good stories and, like, good experiences of people, Twitter is probably the last place you want to go to find that.
Not an accurate cross-section of humanity.
It is not.
Right there.
That is why I'm glad that we have the email address for people who don't want to contact us via social media. If you forgot, it's nespowertrip@gmail.com.
Oh, maybe.
But honestly, with some of these things like Instagram and Snapchat, Twitter especially, there's a lot of mean people out there. A lot of mean-hearted people, and a lot of people who just really...
They think, kicks.
Well, and they think that they know everything, and then everybody else is wrong.
Gee, I can't imagine what it's like knowing somebody like that.
Yeah, because everyone else is wrong.
I want to say he sits between us every day.
So, so Kevin, when did you start Twitter?
Kevin's the programmer of Twitter.
God, I wish. I'd be rich.
No, but that's so. Yeah,
It's
not great.
No,
but I ran across this thing. There's a whole shitload of people that I follow had posted this thing, and it's. They were basically they were responding to somebody who had made a post saying, "Damn it, my stupid ass should have taken a snapshot of the post." But he was saying, "Here's a friendly reminder: you don't need to finish a game to give a proper review or write on it, and you also don't have to be good at games to write upon it." These people lit his ass up. Everybody kept saying, you should have to finish the game all the way through, otherwise how can you give a proper review? The other one said you have to be good at games, otherwise... I don't know, but they went on and on and on, but the question... Like, it ended up getting stuck in my head, the question, and that's why I figured this would actually be an interesting discussion, because we... At the end of every game that we do on Power Trip, we always give our synopsis and essentially our review of the game. Mm-hmm. Granted, we do play it all the way through. And we do... I wouldn't say we're great at games, but I would say we're good.
We're better than average. We're above middle of the road.
Which is why I always feel like we make that discernment between if you're a casual gamer, such and such, this game might not be for you, or you know what I mean? If you're a more hardcore gamer, this might not appeal to you as it's too easy, whatever. But I feel like we have some bit of clout when it comes to this. But I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinions on that question. So we'll start with... Well,
I didn't say, before we go too far into it, anyone that says, because this will be the best place to do it rather than get sidetracked by it later. I
suppose that's a good point.
Anyone who says that you have to be good at games to review them, well, then you better be an expert chef.
Yeah.
You better be a fucking computer programmer. You better be a filmmaker, like a good, recognized filmmaker. You better be a top-selling musician. You better be a world-class artist. Otherwise, the moment you review all these, anything else that you are not some form of expert in, your opinion now automatically means shit.
That was kind of where my first thought lied too. Is like, well, if your stance on you have to be good at it, that would mean you have to be a very, very talented artist to review art.
Yeah.
You have to be a talented opera singer to review an opera. Like that theory makes no sense.
Well, it does to a certain degree. And I'm not defending it, but I'm just going to explain where it is. Have you guys ever heard the term gatekeeping?
Yes.
Of course.
That is straight up gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Is basically because what you are saying is that you have to be good at games in order to give an accurate review. So if you are not good at games, then who's your audience? So you're only making this game so that true gamers and people who are good at games are going to be playing?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to get people who don't normally play games, who you want them to get that little push into, hey, you know what, maybe I want to try this game out, or I want to try this system out. I've heard video games are really fun. Let me try it out. So you're saying that you don't want them to basically be given a review because they don't know how to play games. You're trying to keep the population the way that it is and avoid other people from getting in. That's the way that I see it.
Well, and to me, it's like a form of elitism.
I don't know if I would go as far as saying elitism, because I understand it's like you don't want random people mixing in. Like, okay, you don't want somebody who has no care whatsoever on video games to kind of like pollute the waters of like your pond, I guess. But in that sense, it's like, just because you feel one way about a game doesn't mean that somebody else is going to feel the same way.
Right.
They are entitled to feel differently, and it doesn't affect how you play the game or how you enjoy it or how you see it.
Right.
It's just both opinions are right from their perspectives.
I wouldn't say opinions are right. They're just there.
Well, yes, they're neither. Well,
no opinion is right.
Opinions are neither right nor wrong.
Exist.
Yes, opinions are neither right nor wrong. They're just
So my take on that comment of you need to be good at games is lately everybody knows, this is no surprise, that like modern journalism or any form of like article writing is a fucking joke.
It is a joke.
Yeah. It's gone so downhill that because everybody with a voice can literally post about anything.
Well,
even the people who don't deserve one.
Well, it's not just that. It's the fact that a lot of journalism journalism used to be, you didn't have one view or the other. You were neutral, and you were reporting what it was that was going on.
Unbiased.
It was unbiased.
They search for the truth.
Yeah. Nowadays, you don't get unbiased opinions on these articles, especially these ones from, some of these sites where, they're writing articles and paying them. they're paying these writers probably like $10-15 per article, so they're just wanting to pound out these articles as fast as possible. They don't care about the truth or whatever it is, and most of them are pushing an agenda one way or the other to try to either attack something that they don't like, or are trying to confirm that something is the way that they already think that it is.
Or appease a benefactor of some sort.
Exactly. Because a lot of these places, like the Kotakus and like,
Polygon.
BuzzFeed, Polygon, I don't even know, is BuzzFeed even still around?
Yep.
But most of them, they have like higher tier, like CBS owns BuzzFeed. It's like, so they have to appeal to CBS's
whim.
Yeah, whatever it is that they want, they can't do something that targets them. Mm-hmm. So if you have a bad show, it's like, well, no, you're just bad for thinking that it's bad. It's like, yeah.
But part of me thinks that comment refers to, there's a lot of, especially nowadays, there's a lot of misconstrued misconstrued ideas that if a game is hard, like if the game's too hard, it's not a good game. There is a lot of that.
But there's also the opposite opinion of where, if a game doesn't hit a certain threshold for being hard, it's just crap automatically.
Oh yeah, people get shit on all the time for playing games.
Look at the Souls franchise, the fan base of the Souls type games. If a game is not, that's why they have that entire thing of the you die, well, get good.
Oh god, I hate that fucking thing.
Get good.
Get good. Spelled GITGUD.
Wait,
get good.
GID
GIT and good GUD. Get good.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. Yeah, you don't remember that?
Oh, it's a very stupid. Common thing of this game's. It's usually in response to people being this game sucks because it is too hard.
Yes.
And then it's one of those things where it's like that mentality developed because you have those individuals that think, if it doesn't meet this threshold for difficulty, it is automatically a shitty game.
Yeah. A lot of people, too, get scrutinized for playing a game on, like, easy. So, like, somebody who, let's say you, or whatever, who's maybe not necessarily a huge action RPG guy, but would like to experience a story of, like, let's say, their 2018 God of War.
Yeah.
You play on easy, people would make fun of you. Because you're not playing it on the intended difficulty. Or high, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh, you're not a true gamer because you're playing it on fucking easy, bro. You suck.
Then why would they even make the difficulty easy if they didn't intend for somebody to play it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sake, when Kevin and I have been playing Outriders, if you die too much, the game literally tells you, dude, you can adjust the difficulty of this game down to make it
God of War
easier.
was the first one. Yeah. The original God of War, when it came out in 2004 or 2005, that was the first one that I ever noticed where if you died too many times, it would suggest to you, would you like to turn the game to, like, a lower difficulty?
I think, what was it, the Ninja Gaiden reboot? If you died too many times, it would give you the option of becoming, was it Ninja Dog difficulty, which is the easiest level?
There are some games, I think it was Blue Dragon, actually, where if you died too many times, it would actually give you a buff. I think it would give you like regen or an auto revive or something.
And there's games too where if you died too many times, it would start you with like incrementally a little bit more life every time. God of War did that too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but I feel like maybe that's more what they're tailoring to is those people who you need to be good at games to a point where you're not going to assume the game is trash just because you're not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, unfortunately, a lot of people feel that way. I want to say you and I sometimes start to feel that way. Like Solomon's Key.
Mm-hmm.
I did for the most part, after editing it, I do remember actually enjoying it. It was more so when it got difficult to the point where it's not brutal wasn't the right word. Unfair.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
There's a difference between difficulty and being unfair. That game sometimes felt unfair, where we said that game sucked, which is why I think we ended up giving it a lower score. But yes, I feel like that's where that comment, you need to be good at games to review them. But it also depends, because like not everyone's good at every type of game. You know, we're not going to go out and review a sports game because we're not good at sports games. You know, that would be like us doing a Forza game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I get what you're
fucking
saying.
know. But maybe that's what they mean. I
Well,
don't...
it's funny because I actually just recently, on the Sega Genesis, I popped in X-Men because X-Men, it was a game that I played a hell of a lot growing up. And I loved it because I loved the X-Men. But it was the first game that I knew in my life that I admitted to myself, I will never beat this game. Like, in my lifetime, I will never be able to beat this game. This game is just, it's too hard. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I decided to pop it in just to see, okay, you know what, maybe that was my mindset back then, but if I stick to it and I play it and get used to it, maybe I'll get better at it and I can actually beat it in my lifetime. And so they have easy, I think it's like, they call it amateur, I think. Amateur, novice, novice, amateur, hard.
Probably,
something like
yeah,
that.
that sounds right.
Yeah. And so on the easiest difficulty, you can play through and things are, as they say, easy. So it's like enemies don't do as much damage to you. You do a little bit more damage to enemies. And there's not as many enemies on screen at one time. Well, the game has 6 levels, and then you're at the end. Well, if you're on easy mode, after you beat the 3rd level, you get a screen that comes up with Magneto saying, I don't deal with like novices. If you expect to beat me, like try the next level or try a harder level or something like that. So I'm like, holy cow, like the game basically insults...
It gate kept you, bro!
Yeah, the game insults you for not... for playing on easy. And I'm like, that's kind of... wow.
Well, I mean...
But it's... But to me, I see that as... the game wants you to learn. You have to learn somewhere. Even if you're good at games, you're not going to be good at the game out of the starting gate.
Right.
Start on easy. You find out that you can only progress to level 3. Well, guess what? You made it to the next level. So let's go on to normal mode, and then we get to see the rest of the game. It was intended for you to play easy mode. Nowadays, it's hard for... okay, so when you have the choice of easy, normal, or hard... games can't just be beat within like 15-20 minutes and then you decide, okay, well now I'm on the next level, let's go to normal. This is a 10-hour, like, you are invested in this.
Yes.
So by playing it on easy, yeah, maybe they didn't intend for you to play the entire game through easy, but you had to learn somewhere. Otherwise, why would they have put it in the first place?
I can see that. And that's something that goes back even to like the NES era with like Double Dragon. Remember, we couldn't get to the last Barai Fighter. You couldn't reach the very ending levels until you played on Ace.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did it somehow. I don't fucking know how we did it, but we did it. And it's like, so that's, but like you said, you had to learn somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's like it kind of baby steps you into it, and that mindset always drives me nuts anyway. And I'm more stubborn than anything, so when something's too difficult, I have to beat it. Like, which is, like I said in Outriders, Kevin and I, it tells you to adjust the world tier down so that the enemies have less life, they don't deal quite as much damage, they're not as high of a level. So, but because I'm such a pain in the ass, I keep it where it is.
No,
I'm like, I will beat this.
I do. And in fact, I consider it more a slap in the face, like, oh, yeah, you don't know me, game.
Oh, yeah. Kevin and I were playing together. We were just, I don't even know we were playing together. We were playing headsets or whatever. And of course, that thing is like, yes, I know, I suck dick. God. Like, go away. I know I'm bad at this. Fuck. It's so funny. Like, yeah. But yeah, that's. So, but you don't necessarily have to be good at games to review it.
No, exactly. And to me, one of the big things, too, is that if people who say, I mean, okay, so if they say you don't have you shouldn't review a game until you've actually played through the entire game.
Right.
Yeah, I can understand from that perspective why, yeah, you want to see the entire game before you cast your judgment over it. That's fine. But in games where it's like, okay, if the game sucks and they say like, oh, no, you got to get to the ending because the ending's going to it's going to blow your mind. It's going to really change everything about it. They should not have made the game so shitty in the beginning to make you have to go all the way to the end to then change your mind on that. Yeah. So I still feel like, no, you can still give a pretty accurate and adequate review without having to get to the end. They shouldn't make it so that you are now penalized unless you make it to the end and you get that big bang moment.
Yeah.
What's the point of that?
And I know in our experiences, especially with the NES, and I would say even up to current gen, games generally don't change.
No.
Like, I say you don't have to play through an entire game to give a proper review because you play a few hours in, you're going to get a feel of the mechanics, you're going to get a feel of the visuals, you're going to get a feel of the audio. Generally, these things don't get better. They usually stay the same.
Yep.
Those are not what changes in a game. So you can give an adequate review. If the game just sounds like shit, it's always going to sound like shit.
And this is where, before we even started recording, I said... This is one of those things where it definitely needs to be broken down into categories when you're talking about... So, when you're talking about reviewing stuff, because, I can, for me, it breaks down into, mechanics and gameplay, and then story.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely.
So, mechanics, if you're playing through the game, usually the first 2 to 3 hours, it presents everything that you're going to need to know how to do.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's either you're enjoying it for what it is, or you're not. It's not changing.
Well, how many times have you ever heard people say, Silent Hill 2, fantastic game, incredible story, one of the best that has ever been told in the video game medium, but yet, how many have said that they've absolutely loved the fighting mechanics of that game? Not a single damn person.
Or A Link to the Past is the same way. How many people have actually left the house? First of all, he tells you to stay in fucking bed, all right? I stayed in the bed for 3 hours, and that motherfucker never came back. I turned the game off and I returned it. I said, this is the dumbest Sleep Simulator 5000.
Just because you have no sense of adventure. You're not willing to break the rules.
I'm speaking in jest, of course. This was...
I know you are, but a small part of me is like, nope, you actually did that. You took him back to the store like, hey, this game's broken.
He probably did until his older brother came in and said, leave the fucking house.
This harkens back to a review that somebody actually left that review. When they played Link to the Past, they gave it a 1 star, 1 out of 5. Because
wait a minute, what?
What? He put in his review. The guy told me to stay in bed. I stayed in bed. I left it on for 3 hours. Nothing happened. Turned the game off. Went and sold it. He says, "What fun is a game?" Because he didn't. I don't know if that review was in jest, but you know what?
It had to be.
You can't put you don't underestimate stupidity, Paul.
It had to be.
Stupid will find newer and worse ways to surprise you.
Oh my God.
But yes.
But yeah, mechanically speaking, very few games will suddenly have some massive shift in how stuff is played.
Exactly.
So by I usually, like I say, at the 2 to 3 hour mark, you're gonna understand what you can about the mechanics, and outside of puzzle games where there might be some new mechanics introduced, you're gonna know whether or not you like this or don't like this.
Right.
You should. Maybe you can't quite articulate why you don't like something of the mechanics, but you'll be able to at least, find some way of describing it.
Right.
But, I say, because, let's see, racing games, sports games, they don't change.
No.
Racing games
not really.
Don't change. You get different stats for your car parts or something like that, but you're still doing the same shit.
Gives you better handling, gives you tighter turns, maybe faster acceleration at the cost of drift. Yes.
Mario, it's the fucking beginning to end. Yeah. It just changes the aesthetic. There's nothing different.
Maybe throws in a thing here and there, like the shoe or the boot or,
and then
another power.
Later games will have, but mechanically, you're still doing all of the same thing.
Exactly.
Let's see, RPGs, No, like they rarely ever shit.
Very rarely. There's never, and I truly can't think of one. There's never been an RPG I've played where the beginning sucks and then all of a sudden it gets better. Like, it's usually, it stays consistent throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's exactly, you break it down into, are you reviewing technical aspects or reviewing story? Because honestly, if you're going to review a story, you can't make an inference. You have to play through.
Yeah, you have to play
to give
through
an
it,
adequate story.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then from like with, see, and this is where like with story though, like if you're playing a game and the story, and like this is my thing for like a TV show. If I'm watching it and it doesn't hook me by the first 2 or 3 episodes, I'm done with the series.
Right.
So stories and games are the same way. If it has not hooked me by a certain point, why am I going to want to slog through the rest of it to see if it's going to get better?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to keep beating my head against the wall and not enjoying something to be able to give someone else an adequate view of my opinion on it.
Which is, that might be part of the reason why I don't like Lord of the Rings, is because I try to watch those movies and they're so fucking dry to me. Mm-hmm. Game of Thrones was the same way. The few 5 episodes I watched, it was the most boring shit I've ever seen in my life. Nothing happened, and I'm like, I can't watch this.
And saying this is,
and like you, it taints the rest of the experience.
Well, and then here's the thing. It's kind of, it's weird because it is mildly contradictory, and I do own up to that. But like, if you are reviewing the story and you don't make it all the way through, you can't say you are accurately reviewing the story as a whole.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
exactly.
And actually, my example, your summary of Lord of the Rings or mine of Harry Potter.
Sick.
Never been able to make it through any of the Harry Potter stuff ever.
Oh, okay.
They're garbage to me.
Yeah.
Like nothing about them appeals to me.
Well,
which is sad because like I like high fantasy, I like magic and stuff like that.
Right.
But Harry Potter just does not appeal to me.
So then, in that review, if you gave a review of Harry Potter, you should preface it by saying, "Hey, I've never been able to sit through an entire Harry Potter movie.
Right.
These aren't for me. This is not my cup of tea. So if you are expecting an honest review or an accurate review, you're not going to get it here. You're going to get it from somebody who just did not get Harry Potter.
Yeah.
What is it about Harry Potter that you don't enjoy? The characters?
I can't put my finger on it, and that's the thing. It's like with the books, it was the writing style. With the movies, I was just bored.
Because didn't they do like a spin-off thing, like
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
Yeah, that actually, like, I've never been huge into Harry Potter either, but that actually looked interesting to me. But because I didn't like Harry, and I also didn't like any of the characters.
Is it
so
because...
I wonder if I like that. No, it's not because he looks like me. Fuck you. I know where you were going with that. Hey, look, I'm Harry Potter!
And Harry Potter!
Harry!
Harry!
Oh, wow. You son of a bitch. I knew it was going to go there, too, the second you started mentioning it. But no, but that Fantastic Beasts, whatever the fuck, that actually looked interesting to me. But I know, I can get where you're coming from. It's like something about it just hits me the wrong way. And like I said, Game of Thrones was the same exact way. Something about it just doesn't do it for me.
Well, I say, like, especially with Game of Thrones, I definitely get that one because it is a political thriller before anything else.
I guess, but I felt
That's
like
the best way to describe
nothing.
Because it's all
happened.
about the policy, like the politics between the factions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fighting is there, but it's not the focus until like certain chapters in the books and stuff like that.
Maybe that was it. I don't know. But that's why, like, even Star Wars, to a lesser extent, because I love the Star Wars universe. I love the idea of space magic. I'm always a big fan of that kind of shit. But maybe it's the characters and how they're represented I don't care for, because I love KOTOR. Like, Knights of the Old Republic is badass. And I love all that shit. But for some reason, the movies just don't do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's where I lose it. With, like, especially Lord of the Rings. I just don't like anybody. Like, if I just don't like anyone, I'm gonna have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where my issue lies. Maybe, I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it. But yes, anyway, I digress. Story. If you're reviewing a story, you should have to play all the way through it because it's some games, especially nowadays, have such twists, especially near the end, because that's a big thing now.
Oh yeah.
It's like you just can't infer that something's going to happen. You can't like just guess that, oh yeah, he's gonna die, and he doesn't. You're like, oh fuck, no, I look like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that a lot of the problem lies in a lot of these reviewers don't preface it by saying, I did not play through all this.
Yeah.
They usually just say, this is how it is.
Yeah.
So I think maybe
They
that's
make
where
it
a lot of
sound.
people
They make
are
it sound like
Why-
they have gone through the entire game when they.
And
haven't.
this is where like my big complaint with like professional reviewers, even just like amateur ones on various sites is
Hey, what are you talking about? We ain't amateur. What we say is gospel, damn it!
well, and that's my thing is like
Right.
far too many times, not only does the reviewer, but the people that read the reviewer take everything that they're spouting out as fact.
AVGN.
It's not. It is just an opinion. Well, see, at least,
Even though his was
his-
never intended to be taken seriously.
yeah, his
Yeah.
at least I give him leeway. He is doing it as parody.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's the entire point of the nerd character. Yeah, it's the venting of our frustrations from like when we were a kid, but it's
Yeah.
a parody. It's a joke of all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But far too many people take modern review people serious, like or like for films, like people took like Siskel and Ebert serious for how long?
Yeah.
Why? And he never has anything good to say about like any movie.
Yeah, let's say, wasn't Siskel like a real big prick?
Well, like
Didn't he just didn't like anything?
says like for fuck's sake, he talked shit about the first Alien movie when it released, saying it was garbage.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that. Huh.
And it well, it was one of them. It's whichever one stayed alive longer is the one that talks shit.
Ebert.
Okay, was it Ebert?
Yeah.
Okay.
Siskel died first.
Siskel was a thin one, Ebert was a fat one.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. But like, yeah, they talk shit. But then it's funny because like years later, when he went and he was talking about the movie, he praised the movie for being good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no, go read what you did.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can understand having a change of opinion over the years.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But at least own up to what you said before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why I liked the idea of when we were doing the retrospectives on the channel, coming back to games we had previously done to re-review them, or review them at all, because we never did like Lil
Never
Samson
did an
up to-
actual review.
Yeah. It kind of lets us see them in a different light based on what we've played since then. You know what I mean? And that's why I've always kind of had a soft spot for the retrospectives that we've done, because it's, yeah, like a game we played at the time we may have hated, but then we look back on, like, I think, I want to say we kind of did like Die Hard right away.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, I know you
I
loved
did.
Die Hard. But I remember at the time I didn't care for it because it was just such a frustrating game to
Yeah.
play.
Mhm.
But then as I came back to it, I'm like, you know what? Actually, this game was pretty fucking solid.
Pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I can see where you're coming from with
Yeah.
that. Like, own up to what you said. But, you know, yeah, people can change. You
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
your taste can change. Like maybe, and especially in the case of like if you finish something, yeah, you could be like, well, I didn't care for how this was done at the beginning, but by the end it swayed me, and so that's possible. But at least make sure that you're expressing that in some way to the audience you're trying to reach.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, and I've mentioned this many times before, like, I want to sit down and watch all of the Star Wars movies. Like, now that I'm an adult, and maybe I can kind of see, like, the charm it has, you know? Maybe as I can kind of put my bias aside and watch them and be like, all right, yeah, these are pretty good. And you know, I probably won't go nuts into them, but, yeah. Because I remember even when we did our review of Outriders with my older brother, Adam, and we shit on that game a lot.
Yeah,
But we also, there was a lot of really good things we loved about it.
yeah.
You know? So it's, yeah, I don't know. It just, yeah.
I still feel like, I mean, anybody can review a game. It's just it's the credence that you give to it that
Right.
is the problem. I mean,
yeah.
if it's somebody who literally played the game for 10 minutes, is not a video game player by nature, then yes, they can still review the game just as much as anybody else can.
Yeah.
But just don't give it as much credence if you don't think that they're going to give an accurate representation of what it is that the game is about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hate Jaws. I thought that game sucked. You love it.
Well, yeah, I guess I do. It's I
Yeah.
mean, there's just something about it that's charming to me.
It's quick.
And
It
that's,
is.
It's a quick little fun romp, and it's just over.
And like you said, it's an opinion. Opinions are just there. They're not right or wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
There is a distinction there, because some games truly are just terrible. Look at Athena.
Oh, no.
Who has a soft spot for fucking Athena? And if you do, you're fucking wrong. I'm sorry to tell you. Athena is programmed and looks and sounds and functions like shit.
I see.
He's speaking with hatred. If you do like Athena or have grown up with it and
suck.
And went to your local Blockbuster or Farmore to get the game to rent it, you are just as entitled to your wonderful memories.
Okay, yeah, I suppose in certain situations, yeah, there are like opinions that are wrong, like people who, flat earthers, conspiracy type people, where there is factual evidence that contradicts what they're saying, and they still hold an opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then that opinion is wrong. But when it comes to like subjective stuff for like taste of why you like a game, why you don't like a game, what you're enjoying about the story and stuff, there is no right or wrong for that.
See, but I feel like at certain times, it doesn't happen often, but I think certain times you can. Because there are some games that are just trash. They're not programmed well, they don't look great, and they sound like Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. That game was not programmed well. It did not look good. It didn't play well.
It was radical.
Or Wayne's World. Like, that's where, like, you almost have to make a disclaimer on it, and the fact that sometimes reviewers can be helpful. I don't always take people's reviews as gospel, because there are some games I've loved that people just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And vice versa. But there are some times where it's like, yeah, I can see their legitimacy in some of the, like Balan Wonderland or whatever the fuck that came out. That game is a hot fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, a lot of people...
Yeah, but that one's a hot mess in as far as gameplay goes.
It looked
like,
good.
Aesthetically, story-wise, it looked like it was going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's just the gameplay's bad. But that's still...
Somebody would enjoy it.
Someone's still going to enjoy it.
Somebody like Sonic 09.
Which makes it
06, I'm sorry.
Which makes it still entirely subjective.
Yeah, that's
so like, unless if like at somehow, some way, you got literally every person who plays games or reviews games and stuff like that to set that, like, be like, these are the hard facts and metrics that we shall use to measure stuff, which will never happen, which is why review scores are bullshit.
Oh yeah, review scores are cabbage.
Which is why using things like Metacritic and stuff are fucking stupid.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Well, Metacritic's a good one because you just look at...
It's an aggregate of... So is Rotten Tomatoes. It takes all of them.
Yeah, the disparity between, like, critic reviews and, like, viewer... Like, I don't know what the other category's called. But basically, like, audience and critic reviews, where, like, critic will be super low, but the audience will fucking love it. And it'll be, like, vice versa, or critics will love it, but, like, the fan base will be like, this is trash.
Yeah, but at least, I mean, and there are some people, I think reviews are always going to be the same way that they always are, because I think, in my case, like, especially when it comes to games, I will sometimes search out reviews. Like, if I didn't like a game, and I just can't, like, it's like I can't, like, identify why exactly it was, I'll go to reviews and see, okay, what were the other gripes that people were having? And it's like, it puts it into words like, oh, that's why I didn't like it, is because of this. And they actually put it into words like, okay, that's it. So now I know that I didn't like this. So it can help to confirm how you feel about a game, but sometimes I'll use reviews where it's like, if it got like a 2.5 IGN review or something like that, I'm like, all right, let's game on. Let me see if I can, like, there's got to be some redeeming factor of this game. And there's been games where it's like, the lower the review, the more I want to play it, because I want to see, like, okay, is it really this terrible?
Well, I mean, we do that with, like, B movies.
Yeah, we did. Galarian's Ash is a good example.
It gets low reviews. Yeah, it gets low reviews.
47s out of 100s, and it's like, we're playing it, I'm like, dude, this game is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's I don't know. Reviewers to me are so hit and miss, because especially nowadays, because they're trying to fulfill an agenda.
But that's,
like you'd said,
or just push out as fast as they can.
But that's the thing, though, and that's why I do feel that anybody can review a game. Anybody can review whatever they want. Just, it is up to the person who is reading that review to take it with a grain of salt. That their opinion is strictly that. It's
Well,
their
and-
opinion. It doesn't necessarily have to be your opinion.
And the reviewer has to be honest about things.
Yes.
Well, good luck on that.
That's that's a problem a lot of times too. Is just because, yeah, to a certain degree, I know like professional reviews, especially for like magazines and stuff, they're given stuff and they have to push it out. They have deadline. They have to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do it as fast as possible. So there are times they cut corners. They'll do like the bare minimum they need to like be able to write the review, but then that doesn't reflect anywhere in the review. And like if they had that, like, hey, I did X amount into the thing and this is all the time I had for it, or it's all I could stomach of it, I would give them a bit more like leeway.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't do that. No one does that.
We that's why
We
I say
try
we
to.
try our best. And for anybody, like, I know we've probably, some people, we played some games where they love it and then we get to our review and we trash it. Like, I want people to understand that it's just our opinion. If you love a game, you love your game, man. Defend your game till the ends of the earth. To the ends of the earth! But, like, because you love Legacy of the Wizard, a lot of people don't like
Love
it.
it.
A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, I know.
Fair enough. You know, it's you let it roll off.
Well, no, and that's the thing, is that I love that game, but every gripe that people have, or if you see a review and they blast it for this, I completely understand.
Yeah.
And there are times where I will get frustrated with the game too, so it's like, I understand where your frustrations are coming from. It's just that all of my collected ideas, opinions, I just love the game. Like, that's what there is to it. Neither person is right nor wrong.
Is there a game that you absolutely love that, like, a lot of people just generally don't like? Or, like, it kind of gets under your skin just a little bit that people don't like it?
Oh God, I'm trying to think.
Legacy of the Wizard.
Yeah, is that easy?
No, God, I'm trying to think.
Well, I have one off the top of my head.
Yeah,
It's
what
the
is it?
Final Fantasy 13 trilogy. A lot of people really don't like that trilogy. I personally don't understand why. Because, like, a lot of the gripes people have, to me, don't feel legitimate. Like, they complain about characters, but then I look at some of the games they love, like Final Fantasy 10 or 12, and I'm like, these characters are less annoying than some of those characters are. And it's like, I don't know.
But again, they're less annoying to you.
But, well, even just from, like, a writing or growth standpoint, like, certain characters in 13 have a very, very good growth. Then you look at, like, 10, and, like, who was it? One of the characters they said had like, phenomenal growth and stuff. It might have been Titus. Like, Titus was trash. He was such an annoying fucking character. Vaughn, Jesus Christ. Don't even get me started on Vaughn from 12. I don't think anybody liked fucking Vaughn. But then again, I didn't like 12 to begin with. But that's just me. Well, I suppose that's my qualifier. That's just me.
Well, and see, again, that's
But it's the gripes people have about 13, I don't understand. Oh, it's too linear and all this shit. And I'm like, well, look at half of the Final Fantasy games. They're all linear.
They were all pretty.
Most
linear.
RPGs are extremely linear. Like, actually, if we look at Outriders, which is a completely different genre, it's basically the same thing.
But that's why it's different. For me, at least, like, it's very different because it is an action, like, shooter.
Yeah. I suppose that's a piss poor comparison.
For an RPG, I need more exploration. I need some of that. Even if it's an illusion of freedom, I need the illusion for the RPG to sell the world, to sell, like, the character interactions. It needs that little bit. And, like, the 13 series, at least the first one, doesn't have that for me.
Yeah, see, and I think that's weird. Because I felt the character growth and just the presentation of 13 was fucking phenomenal. The character, like, the cinematics were gorgeous.
Well,
the character growth,
it's amazing.
The character growth throughout it was always very well done. I feel it's probably, to me, it's one of the strongest entries in the franchise. Where people think, like, 10 and 7 and 12 are.
Wow. And then 13 also does kind of start going off the deep end. As far as, like, the scaling gets really weird. Like,
What do you mean?
What is it? Lightning Returns? The one where she's basically a god?
Well, she is.
That's what I mean. Like the scaling gets weird. She goes from being basically a nobody schmuck to a god.
Well, yeah, that's because he made her a god.
I know, but
to
like
go back through time. Yeah, but that's.
But it's also it's like at that level it loses something. Like
it made sense in context of the story.
Like story wise, I've read through like the synopsis of all of them. The story's not bad, but it's just gameplay does not match up to the narrative they're trying to tell.
I guess I personally I like the series a lot. I think the battle. And I think battle was fantastic.
And then that's my other thing is either I just want like me in control, or I just want no control whatsoever.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, cause
I want to be able to select my commands. I want to be able to do.
Yeah.
So either give me an action RPG or give me a turn-based. Don't do the weird blending of the two.
Which is what, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Final Fantasy went to a weird ATB thing. Well, they've done that since 6, but at least in 6 you could control people.
Yeah.
Like 12.
And like at least with like the FF7 remake, where it's an action game, but I could still occasionally be like, you need to do this, you need to do this, and then go back to being an action game.
Mm-hmm.
And if 13 would have been a bit more like that, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
I can see that.
But because of the it's the same reason I hate combat in frickin' 12.
No, 12.
You can set up the gambit systems and then literally just never play the game. Just walk in a line.
That's true. Because the way 12 is set up, you basically get these things you can buy where you create macros. So if or instances of things, they call them gambits. So it's like you can set up this thing, if health is lower than 30%, it will automatically use such and such healing item to get your health back.
Or skill.
Oh, nice.
If your health is above 90%, do such and such. So basically you can set it up to where your characters just are autonomous. You don't even have to move.
How many gambits can you have?
I can't remember how many you have set up.
8 to 12?
Royal. Sorry.
Funny, hilarious. Kinetic guard.
Kinetic guard.
But yeah, I can understand that in 12. I just don't like 12 personally because I
like the world.
See, I love the world too. I don't think they utilized it as good as they could have.
Yeah, it's definitely the weakest showing of Ivalice.
Oh, 100%. Because you have all these different diverse races and characters, and you're stuck with a party of fucking humans. Boring.
It's a little weird.
It's stupid, and they're all basically interchangeable. So it's like, at least in like a game like Last Remnant, you got all the races to use, and they all had different abilities and different equipment and different, like they all felt different. If Final Fantasy 12 had used different races, like the Sikh, the big hog looking dudes, or the
The skinny mage ones, I can't remember what they're called.
I don't remember what they're called either. The Moogles. Even if you got a fucking Moogle or a Moodao, the weird elf one with the big ears. Like, why the only diverse character you get's Fran? She's a fucking Vieira. Like, who gives a shit?
So I just realized, because I'm like racking my brain about your question about, is there a game that I love that
I know
it
there
just
has,
kind
but
of,
I can't place one
it
right
pains
now.
like that it pains you if nobody else likes it. And to be quite honest, I don't think there is, because like most of the games that I love, there is things that I don't like about them that I'm like, okay, I could see very well, like, okay, if somebody doesn't like this game for this, like, oh yeah, I could see that, because that was one of the annoying pieces of that game. But it's like, I mean, games like Rule of Rose, like, I think that was, like, honestly, it was great music.
Oh,
it was a gorgeous looking game, but honestly, the story really hard to follow.
Oh yeah, the story was confusing.
You really have to play it a couple times to get a really good idea of what the story is. But once you discover what that story is, oh, it's such a beautiful poetic game.
Yeah, it's very poetic.
But you're basically asking the person to play through the game twice, at least to get that.
And does not control the greatest.
No, it does not. It's got terrible controls, so it's like, and the fighting mechanics are absolutely god-awful. So I'm like, if you don't like the game, no, I don't really blame you for that.
You're a very understanding breed.
I guess maybe that's what it is.
I think all three of us kind of are.
Because,
maybe some less so
because
than
then
others.
I'm thinking...
But, well,
I'm thinking from the perspective of Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I ended up loving Shattered Memories a lot more than I thought I was going to. Because a lot of people seem to like to shit on that game.
Oh, I think that one's great.
It was a reimagining of the first one.
Yeah.
And they think, because I think it was was it Tom Hewlett, who is not really well liked in the Silent Hill community, but it was his kind of idea for that game, and so I was expecting to like, oh, okay, let's see how they ruin Silent Hill. And when I played it on the Wii version, I'm like, is it wrong that I really like this game? Like, this is probably in my top 3 or 4 of like Silent Hill games. Like, holy cow, this was really good. And yet you're still gonna find like a whole bunch of reviews that are like, oh, this game is absolutely garbage, it's got awful. And I'm like, yeah, there are certain aspects of the game that I don't really like. I mean, and once you really boil it down, unless you're in one of those like chase scenes, which control like absolute garbage, and
not great.
I have no idea the rhyme or reason for shaking some of the enemies off of you sometimes. Because it seems like you're hitting the button prompts just fine, and then sometimes they'll kill you, sometimes they won't. But when you're not involved in one of those chases, even though you're on the edge of your seat because you're like, oh, what's around every corner, there's literally nothing. There's nothing. There's no enemy encounters. There's nothing. And so it's like, yeah, I could see why people would call this game boring and why they would never want to like play it again. But to me, there was something about just the environment, being lost in there, trying to understand what's going on. Like, I mean, there was so many good elements of that game that, yeah, I think more people should like it and give it a fair shake. But at this point, it's like, nah, if you have some gripes about it, I completely understand. I know exactly where your gripes would be coming from. So I guess I can't really say, like, is there a game that I'm upset that more people don't like, because usually every game has a flaw of some kind, and I can identify where those flaws are, at least from my perspective.
I guess more of my issues is like people who make comparisons to games that like really aren't that well done. So like, especially with 13, people love 15, and to me 15's terrible.
Oh,
15 had terrible character.
I've tried to go through that one, I don't know, 3 or 4 times now, and I get
it's so difficult.
I get like 4 hours in every time, and I'm like, I'm gonna go play something else.
yeah.
Well, because it feels like it I don't know. To me, it feels so open. There's just nothing.
Well,
There's
wasn't
nothing out
the
there.
Final Fantasy X series was like,
X series?
yeah, that was open too, wasn't it?
No.
No.
Final Fantasy X?
No. And it's
X1, X2,
cross,
X.
I think you're thinking XXX.
and it's,
Open being unit, right?
and it's cross.
And it's
Yeah.
cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, Final
Duh.
Fantasy Cross
No,
2
I
and
don't-
3. Yeah.
I mean, I can sort of I understand Kevin's gripes with 13 because yes, it is very, very linear, and I can see where that degree of exploration doesn't apply, and it's like, all right, I can get
and for
that.
you though, like you were also coming off of a game where you did nothing but wander and do side shit.
Yeah, I didn't. I came
You
from
were
Fallout 3.
you were playing Fallout 3 and then went to Final Fantasy, and it was a very like laser focused thing.
Mhm.
So it was like a whole like completely different mindset.
Yeah.
So for you, that probably helped embrace the game.
Maybe. You're
So-
probably right about that. Yeah.
But like as far as games that like people tend to shit on, that I don't would be fucking Other M.
Yeah. Good point.
Oh yeah.
Other M gets shit on by like even some of like the die-hard fans of the Metroid franchise, and I'm like, why? Because they tried to humanize Samus.
Right.
Yeah, because she was supposed to be this.
She's not this cold-hearted,
bounty hunter.
and it's supposed to be, and it's early enough in her career where she was not calloused that way.
No.
Right.
So-
She wasn't worn down, and yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a prequel, isn't it? To like the
Other M is
original?
like
yeah.
like one of the first in the series.
Where did we figure
In the
out that
timeline?
one lied?
But it's
It was-
it's
yeah.
before the events of Metroid 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she still refers to Adam, or Adam's still alive.
which
Yes.
is a Super Metroid thing.
Yeah, so maybe I feel like it's between 1 and 2.
No, because wasn't Fusion was where Adam was really like
don't know.
when he came in to play.
Well, Adam was dead by then.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
there was like a computer that she referred to as Adam, and we didn't know who it was, and Adam was actually alive in Other M.
Yeah, I forget where
So-
it falls in the timeline. But yeah, actually, that's a really good point. Other
Yeah.
M. I mean, we did notice that sometimes like controlling was a little hard, especially when you had to go to like the missiles
and the
stuff.
maps can get a little bit disorienting.
Yeah, so, like-
at times. So yeah, it's got its flaws, but honestly, I think it's a well constructed story, and it's the enemies look cool. Like,
I think
mean,
if the game had played more, and I hate to say this, if it had played a little bit more like RE4, where it was kind of over the shoulder as
No,
opposed
maybe.
to. So it would be like a weird
to
blend.
directly above and pointed down.
If it had been a weird blend of like Prime but also RE4, I think it would have been spot on. Because then aiming with the missiles wouldn't have been so jarring, where you're going from that top down, and then all of a sudden it's first person. You're trying to reorient yourself as like what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So maybe that I could see, but I don't know. Because I think the Prime games, top notch. I feel like the Prime games don't get the recognition they deserve.
No, I think the Prime games are pretty well received by just about everybody.
People like them, but I don't. I want to say not many people really talk about the Prime games.
Yeah, but to be quite honest, I think Metroid as a whole, people don't talk about Metroid as a whole. I mean, honestly,
good point.
Samus Returns for the 3DS, fantastic game. It was so well done. And the game didn't even sell 500,000 copies.
That blows my mind.
How does that happen?
That blows my mind. It seriously
When you have
does.
an IP like Metroid and Samus, and like for the amount of base that you have of people who own 3DSs and the Nintendo handheld products, how did it only sell 500,000 copies? Like, that blows my mind.
And it's not like the Metroid franchise is like obscure.
Exactly.
I mean, she's
Everybody
one of the main
knows
characters
them.
in Smash.
Everybody knows the
Yeah.
Metroid franchise.
Fucking Samus is a total babe. Like, everybody knows who Samus is. So it's not like it's something more obscure like
Kid Icarus, I would even say.
Pit
I
from
mean,
Kid Icarus would have been
exactly.
that was a weird when they brought Pit in and Palutena. You're like, oh, that's a weird choice.
Yeah.
But like makes sense. It's a Nintendo thing, you know. That was a little more obscure than fucking Metroid.
Well, because
Samus.
in what the 30 years or 35 years that Icarus has been around, they've had what, 3 games?
3, yeah.
They've had the
NES,
Icarus for the
Monsters,
NES, the Game Boy, and then
Uprising,
3DS, yeah.
Yeah, which hopefully it would be nice if they brought Uprising to the Switch.
Which is funny, between the Game Boy game and the 3DS one was what, like a 20-year gap?
Yeah, it was massive.
So it was just, it was huge.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
So it looks like Other M is just right after Super Metroid.
Oh.
Just after.
Oh, so it was.
Super,
So it was.
Like literally, like within a year
Oh, so then it was
so it's between
Metroid.
3 and 4.
Yeah, so it was Metroid 1, Metroid.
Really?
Super Metroid, Other M,
And then Fusion.
and then Fusion.
That seems weird in the timeline.
Yeah, it really does.
Because she looks so young in it.
She does. I thought that it was like the.
That's
prequel
I
to
thought it
all
was.
of
I
them.
thought it was like right after like 1, but.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I tried to look up the Metroid timeline once, and people have weird. Like, it's not very discernible.
Well, it's like I think it's kind of like the Zelda timeline.
No. It's
not as
Nothing's like the Zelda timeline.
It's not split.
It's not as screwy, but there's no.
But yeah, there's no discernible way to identify when things are happening.
Yeah,
They don't give enough context clues in each one of the games to.
Well, and they all
identify.
kind of reference each other in weird ways. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, other than like, because Fusion talks about the Metroid baby and how she now has the Metroid cells in her body, which is why the SAX can't corrupt her or whatever.
That was after. So then that was after.
Which was after 2.
Super Metroid, yeah.
Or, after Super Metroid, which 3, yeah. But like, they all kind of reference shit. This one, like. That's why I felt like Other M was a prequel to even 1, because it's like...
Yeah, well,
really
the events... Well, the events of... It would have... Maybe it would have been before Metroid 2 then. Because you had Metroid 1. Then there was an indiscernible time between Metroid 1 and Metroid 2. But then Metroid 2 leads directly into Super Metroid. Which then pretty much leads almost directly into Fusion.
Yeah. Because it's really weird the way it all falls. So it's like, where could this possibly... Because I think even Federation Force falls somewhere in there.
Well, so did the Primes games do too.
Yeah.
Oh, there was like
Apparently.
Prime Hunters too, yeah.
Yeah, so like even the Prime games fall somewhere in that timeline. You're like, all right, this is weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, bottom line, I think that whole statement for the reviewing thing is garbage. I don't think you necessarily have to finish a game from beginning to end to give an accurate review unless you're reviewing a story.
Yeah.
Then it's definitely necessary.
Yeah.
And we also don't believe you necessarily have to be good at games.
No.
You don't have to be good at something to understand proper programming or proper
Don't have
pleasant audio,
don't have to
pleasant
be
visuals.
you don't have to be a 5-star Michelin chef to enjoy cooking.
Exactly, or eating for that matter. You
Yeah.
know what tastes good. If something tastes good, it tastes good. Like,
Yeah.
Look at
Well, even that though. I mean, it just shows how how wide the spectrum can be, because everybody, like, nobody has the same taste.
No.
So therefore, what you find delicious, I might not find delicious.
Like,
it doesn't mean either one of us are wrong if we say, "Oh, this is the best thing I've ever had," or
Right.
"Oh no, this is the worst thing I've ever had." It's like we're both right because it's from our perspective.
like, do you two eat fish?
I do.
Despise fish. I can't eat any seafood.
Well,
I
it's-
hate seafood.
Well, it's funny. The people who like can't stand seafood, yet a lot of people like shrimp and eat shrimp.
Oh, God.
I love fish. I can't eat shrimp. I can't do it.
If it's like fried or done hibachi, I can eat shrimp, but that's about it.
I don't like eating bottom feeders. That's weird. They just eat poo all day. It's very weird to me.
Oh, I don't eat shrimp.
I know you don't. I don't understand it.
Mm.
But yeah, and people
still,
look at, and it's funny because
that's the thing.
You look at all those cooking shows, and what are they cooking with almost exclusively? Seafood.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I could never
But
be
that's-
on those shows.
but
I'm
that's
like,
the thing,
this shit's disgusting.
Why
to me.
I feel that way is because just because two people have such vastly differing opinions does not make either one right nor wrong.
Yeah. Because I want to say we had this argument with somebody once where Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, did not get great reviews when it first came out. Didn't Game Informer not give it like a super high score? It was like a 70 something.
I'm pretty sure, like, what is it? GamePro probably gave it. I think GamePro gave it 5s across the board.
GamePro did, but I don't think
Yeah.
Game Informer did.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like Game Informer gave it like a 70 something. It was low. Well, not low, really, because technically 70 is still a decent game. Just a decent game with a few flaws, and that's where that's one thing that drives me nuts too. Is the common day rating system. Mm-hmm. People feel like if a game's not 90 or above, it's not worth playing.
Yeah.
You have to remember, like, a game that's a 70 or 80 is still a good game. It's just there are some flaws in it, but that's most games. Because you look at half the games they give perfect scores to, and it's like, dude, these games are not.
It must have been one of the other ones, because Symphony of the Night is basically heralded as like the best of the.
I could have sworn there was something that gave Symphony of the Night
'Cause,
not
like,
a great review.
Let's see, because we'll just ignore it. PlayStation, it got an A, 5 out of 5, 8 out of 10, 9.25 out of 10,
8 out of 10.
30 out of 40, 9.5
Actually,
out of 10.
30 out of 40? That's
Yeah.
like a 75%.
8 out of 10, 8. Yeah, those are
294, 294 out of 300, B plus,
Huh.
8.9,
and yet
9 out of 10.
how many years later is Symphony of the Night
It's
considered
still
like
being-
one of the
yeah.
greatest games on the PlayStation of all
GamePro
time?
gave it a perfect 5.
Yeah, that's
Did it?
what I
Oh, maybe
said.
that's-
five,
yeah.
5s across the board. Yeah.
It wasn't Game Informer. I could have sworn I remember hearing it was not given a great review.
Well,
for
I
one
know Curse
thing.
of Darkness and stuff like that were
No,
reviewed
it's-
like shit.
Oh, yeah.
No, and it's funny because I just recently finally completed Circle of the Moon
Yeah.
for the first time because I could not beat the boss, and so that game reminded me of why I can't play Symphony of the Night. Like it's dangerous for me to just pick that game up because I could literally have 10 to 12 hours pass with like in the blink of an eye, and I won't even realize that much time is passing.
All of those GBA ones,
Yeah.
like, or even the DS ones, Portrait of Ruin and Order of Ecclesia, like, they're all time sucks. And
Yeah.
you don't even realize
No.
it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Those games are great.
Yeah.
It's a shame, like, a lot of those never kind of... I wish they would do more of those.
I was just happy because I ended up getting the shinning armor.
The shitting armor?
Shinning.
Shinning.
Ah!
Because it was
the
spelled
shinning.
because it was spelled with 2 N's.
Oh my god. The shinning armor.
Don't say
You have to be
ridiculous.
there's in Circle of the Moon there's like this battle arena that you have to make it through, and at the very end of the battle arena you get it's called I'm guessing it was supposed to be the shining armor,
Yeah.
but it's got 2 N's, so I'm like it's the shinning armor.
That's hilarious. I liked Circle of the Moon a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I liked playing a magician mode where you
Hey.
had all the cards.
Oh right. Yeah.
That's one I don't think
never
I
found-
actually have anymore. I'll have to find that
I
one.
never found all the cards.
Yeah. Because I
So-
think after you beat the game and then play it again...
It unlocks different. I think
Yeah.
I unlocked thief mode.
Yeah, there's Warrior, Thief, Mage.
God, I don't know any of those. All I
Yeah.
know is the magician one where you can play as... You have all the cards right out the bat.
Yeah, but the magician one is like apparently it's the hardest. just because the
what I got,
magicians-
bitch.
Yeah.
At least I did back then. I don't even think I have the game anymore. I don't know what happened to it. Much like
That's sad.
not Dawn of Sorrow. Harmony of Harmony of Dissonance.
Really? Harmony of Dissonance is gone too?
I don't have that one. Yeah.
Damn.
I think I tried to find that at the last Midwest Gaming Classic, but I didn't want to buy it complete for $80.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That's
Well,
when
it's
I
on-
remember playing growing up, and it's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, those games are so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all
So
those.
yeah, the unlockables were magician, fighter, shooter, and thief.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. After my playthrough, I ended up unlocking Thief.
Ah, you suck.
What does that mean?
I don't
What?
know.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know either. I don't even know what any of these do.
You suck.
What do any of them do, Kevin?
You start with different attributes and then different equipment.
Oh, so it's kind of like luck mode.
Yeah.
That was a goofy one.
Interesting.
But yeah,
We come to the conclusion that everyone's wrong and Kevin's right. Doesn't matter what it is.
As per you.
as usual. But yeah, I guess that about wraps it up.
It does
You know
wrap
what the
it
worst
up,
part
I
is?
think,
Is
yeah.
like I bet you like later on tonight, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, oh, I'll think of a game that I love that people hate, and it's gonna start annoying
But-
the hell out of me.
Yeah,
But
likewise.
to be quite honest, I think my moral of the story is that if somebody is writing a review, anybody can write a review. It does not necessarily mean that you have to take it very seriously or that their opinion matters more than yours. It's anybody can write a review, and it is the credence that you give it that is what allows it to be that review.
Of course. If you love a game that critics just
yeah.
don't like, well, that's fine. You
Yeah.
can love anything you
You
want.
can still love it.
You can
If
still
hate
love
a-
it.
If you hate a game that everybody just seems to love, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that game just didn't capture you.
I hate God of War.
Yeah,
People love
everybody
it.
seemed to generally love it, but yeah, it just was never your cup of tea.
Didn't
And
care
you've
for
never
it at
been you've never been for like the hack and slash stuff though.
Not really, because Devil
Yeah.
May Cry, I never cared for it, but that was because I hated
See, and
Dante.
I've been and even from the beginning, like Super Nintendo stuff, I was always into the beat 'em ups, like the final fights and stuff. And God of War is almost like that was like that. It was just it was basically a beat 'em up.
Yeah.
So
But I will say, I do absolutely love the current God of War.
Of course
The
you do.
2018 God of War. Super good.
Mhm.
I absolutely love it.
you gonna get the second one?
Oh yeah, I probably will actually.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy them too.
I think
They're not quite hack and slash anymore.
I think they said something about that there was going to be a God
Yeah.
of War 2.
Ragnarok.
Yes.
Ah.
Isn't Kratos is dead in that one, right? Spoiler.
They'll
Kratos
probably kill him. At
Kratos
some
has
point
been
in it.
dead. He's been dead a couple times.
He's been to hell a couple of times. Never actually fully dead. Well, he was Tartarus, but
Because you said what? His son Atreus
whole-
is essentially
the whole
the
point.
cause of Ragnarok.
The whole
right?
point of the story is it's supposed to be the twilight of the gods. Yeah. So.
Did you say his son is named Atreus?
Atreus.
Oh my god. It's like Myst.
Oh.
Atreus is one of the characters in Myst.
Fuck!
They copied it!
They copied.
Plagiars!
Plagiars.
Actually, wasn't it Atris? ATRUS.
Oh, you're right. It was Atreus.
And his father was Gen.
Jesus
Boy,
Christ, Paul!
well,
way
this
to
is-
drop the ball.
Well, this is going in my review.
Actually, the only reason I
fuck.
remember that is because I've read the books.
Yeah, that's
Of
right.
course
there
you
were
have.
the books.
But anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the PTG Powercast. Is there a game that you guys love that nobody else seems to give the time of day?
Yeah, and is there a game that just has never resonated with you, but yet everybody else seems to absolutely love it? It gets 10s across the board on IGN and all those other outlets. Tell us about your experiences.
That's right. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Probably more so the latter. But that's not the point, because this is our opinion. We can it just is.
Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and the one thing that I have to add to that is that exactly that. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It just is their opinion.
That's right.
There's just so much intolerance today when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Oh my god.
I don't like your.
Oh my god.
I don't like your opinion on opinions.
Let's
so.
circle back to Twitter, shall we?
Oh, God.
Opinions.
I'm gonna go tweet about this right now.
Oh my god. I can't. But no, I'm kidding. Anyway, hit us up on Facebook.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Go to powertripgaming.tv. We'll take you directly to the YouTube channel where you can watch us play through the 678 NES collection.
I was wondering because you tripped initially on that one, and then you full on just fell flat on your face. It was great.
Yeah, but I did it with grace.
Anyways, if you do not want to contact us on social media, I do not blame you, then you can email us at nespowertrip@gmail.com, and we will answer every single comment and question that you have.
That's right. And if you are watching this on YouTube, you can also find the PTG Powercast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and other various Jesus! Podcasting platform.
Podcasting?
No, I did it on purpose. Podcasting platforms. It'll be a little bit easier than watching a stagnant screen.
Podcock.
Oh. Yeah, good.
Get good.
Get good. That's right. This has been the PTG Powercast.
You've been listening with power.
Fuck me.